Coming to you again from the back roads of the John Hunt Morgan Heritage Trail. We've got Ohio 32 and 124 just up in that direction. There's a little side road that comes off of that. And then this comes to the historical road that Morgan's men would have used coming from Jackson, Ohio, probably 5 miles or so in that direction, 4 or 5 miles in that direction, as they move towards Berlin Crossroads. I call it Berlin. Berlin might be the local pronunciation, but we're on Keenan Road, and the property that was owned here was owned by the Keenan family in the 1860s. And on top of this high ground in front of me is where Lawrence's section of two 2.9-inch howitzer, 2.9-inch Parrott rifled guns would be placed to shell the Ohio militia under command of Benjamin Runkle, not too terribly far from us. That'll be where we stop next for our next video in this short series. But the highest piece of ground up there on this particular hillside, there's a 75-foot circle around it that is on the National Historic Landmark Registry as part of the Berlin Crossroads or Berlin Heights battlefield. So just a very quiet spot. You would not know that. I mean, you would have no clue. There's no signage here. There's nothing. But in the future, got one car coming by here. But in the future, this would be a great place for an interpretive panel just to talk about Confederate artillery during the Great Raid. There are 5 guns, not 4, but there are 5 guns with Morgan's column by this particular point. Now, Morgan comes out of Jackson with his 1st Brigade. His 1st Brigade is commanded by his brother-in-law, Basil Duke, and the 1st Brigade will come down this particular area with one section of guns, and that's the 2.9-inch Parrott rifles, also known as 10-pounders, under the command of Lawrence, Officer Lawrence, and I can't remember his first name right now. I'm bad about that. The other column, which is headed up by Adam Rankin Johnson, so it's the 2nd Brigade, they will move down in a different direction, basically parallel to US 35, and not exactly, a lot of back roads and whatnot, but they'll move down and have a little skirmish at a place called Centerville, and 3 guns will be with that column. That is evidenced by a newspaper report observed directly. The newspaper reporter was in Jackson and saw 3 guns going with Adam Rankin Johnson's column. Those 3 guns, 2 of them would have been 12-pounder howitzers, but the 3rd gun in that particular column would have been captured at Morven's Landing, which is directly across from Brandenburg on the Ohio River. It was used by the Indiana Legion, and it was gun tube number 442. That tube is still in existence. It is on a concrete pedestal at Camp Dawson in West Virginia. We know it's gun tube number 442 because there's a report earlier, I think it's in 1862, that said gun tube, a 3-inch ordnance rifle, was assigned to the Indiana Legion, the Legion boys that were in southern Indiana, which would have been, I think, Captain Lyon's unit. And they took that gun to shell back and forth across the Ohio River against the Confederates on July 8th, July 9th of 1863. That gun was captured. It did not have a carriage, but because it had been dismantled during the counter-artillery fire coming from the Confederate artillery on the south bank of the Ohio River. But they would have brought that gun along with them with the gun limber. They had mounted it somewhere because it's not indicated by any of the first-person accounts that gun was being carried on like a wagon or anything like that. And again, 3 guns are observed leaving with Rankin Johnson's 2nd Brigade as they leave Jackson and head down towards a different direction. Johnson's brigade will come across Vinton County and join up with the column, Morgan's column, after Morgan and Duke have fought the engagement here at Berlin Crossroads. We're only, probably not even a mile from Berlin Crossroads, which our next video will be from. But just wanted to give you some insight. You can see the high ground up there through the trees. And again, that's on the National Historic Landmark property list, as is the rest of the Berlin Crossroads battlefield. And battle is probably too strong of a word. While Benjamin Runkle, the Union commander, had about 1,500 or so militia with him, and Morgan's 1st Brigade under Duke would have had probably about 1,000, maybe a little more Confederates with him, so about 2,500 men or so on that battlefield. It's a very small affair. Runkle will report no casualties, and the Confederates will have a couple handfuls of casualties. So it's more of an engagement, or probably a prolonged skirmish would be the best accurate description. But here we are again, just on the back roads. You can see Ohio 32 just right up there, and Ohio 327 is the next exit, and that's where the Berlin Crossroads battlefield's located. So just wanted to give you a little insight. We'll film another video from Berlin Crossroads.